I've always been fascinated by this dance that unfolds on a chessboard, one that of strategy and intellect. Now, this morning, it's indeed a pleasure to sit down with the master of the dance himself. On the next guest from the 973 show, we have with us Srinath Narayanan. Mr. Narayanan, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for taking your time to join us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. So, this interview cannot start with any other question other than a reference to the pride of India, Gukesh. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. It is indeed a very special moment getting the world championship back
title,
to India.
Yes.
After 11 years, and I think Gukesh goes even beyond the pride of India because he's an 18-year-old world champion and the youngest undisputed world champion in the history. So in that sense, he's definitely the pride of India, but he's definitely something special across the world, across times, and he has the potential to be one of the, maybe the very greatest of all time ever.
Great. And all of us have been, at least those who are interested in the game or even otherwise, have been watching the way he is playing very nail-biting final rounds, isn't it? Going into, getting into equals and all that. And he was always very composed. And I think my little bit of observation about all these chess players, you're all very composed. How do you manage that? Especially this game looks so stressful for an onlooker.
I mean, it certainly is incredibly stressful, and we do develop this habit of not revealing our expressions through our face or
also
body
that's
language.
That's a strategy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's part of strategy. You don't want the opponents to know what you're thinking or what you're feeling, but there's a lot that goes within, and everyone does feel the effect of pressure. Everyone does feel the effect of stress. There has been events where people have been hooked onto heartbeat monitors during the game, and the heartbeat rises up to 130, 140, sometimes even to 160 when people are playing chess.
Okay.
So it all goes underneath, and I think you just learn to cope up with it like any other high performing sport. Everyone goes through the moments of stress, everyone goes through the pressure, and people have their techniques to cope up with it, breathing techniques. The experience itself, helps a lot being in that situation, having seen other similar moments of intense high pressure encounters. These things help a lot. Your own skill level helps dealing with pressure better. So a lot of factors, a lot of practice, all these things help cope up with it better. But I can certainly say that the calm, composed appearance is not all there is to the story.
There's more.
Underneath, there's a lot boiling up going on, and just like any other human, chess players feel pressure the same way, or sometimes even more, because a lot goes within the mind, and it's all within the mind. There's also not a lot of physical release, either during the game or in general.
You're very calculative also, right? How many moves you calculate ahead?
So in terms of how many moves, it's more about the quality rather than the quantity.
Okay.
So, the ability of humans, the difference is that we are able to narrow down the quality of the moves that we need to calculate better. We are able to filter out. Let's say there are 50 possibilities in a random position. A player of high level of skill can easily narrow that down to 2 or 3 moves which make sense in the particular position. Okay. So like this, we might calculate like 2 to 3 moves in advance, taking the turn of opponents into account as well. But not beyond that, because the more the possibilities exist, the more variables, the more difficult it becomes to calculate in a straight line.
Right.
It's only possible to calculate in a straight line if the sequence of events are completely predictable. The opponent's moves are also the only way to play. Our moves are the only way to play. Only in these rare instances are we able to calculate several moves in advance. But yes, chess players tend to be quite calculative, and quite often it extends to also, spheres outside of playing chess. In the normal day-to-day life, also chess players think in a certain way, and there's
I was
always,
wanting to ask you that. How does it spill over into life? Are you very calculative?
Yes, I think certainly more than
Is it a
average
general
person.
trait with chess players, or are you talking of yourself? Generally,
I think
chess
both.
Both. Okay.
I think both. In cricket we have R. Ashwin, who is known to be one of the most calculative players, calculative bowlers. Chess players are very similar in general, because it just we are habituated to that, and it spills over. We are thinking about the position, we are thinking about the opponent's best moves, what can happen. We are ready in anticipation, and quite often in life events also. This can spill over. There are, I think, both pros and cons to this.
Yes.
We tend to be prepared for things, but also sometimes if you don't have the switch off button in your mind, it can also tend to be very destructive.
Interesting. That's a beautiful explanation, because I had this question in mind, how practical will it be to take this board into life? And then, if you're very calculative, it will have its own risks, and so that stop button is really necessary somewhere.
Absolutely. And chess is a very complex game, but at the end of it, it's still a game with finite amount of possibilities. And it all happens within the rules on the chessboard. There's not as many variables. Life doesn't happen that way. In life, the rules are a lot more flexible, and the number of variables are a lot more. It's not as finite as chess. So in that sense, it tends to be quite different. In chess you can control things a lot better, but in external events you need to be more flexible in general. You can't have that level of control.
Sensible enough. Srinath, tell me, the title Grandmaster is something which must have brought into you a lot of responsibility and accountability as well, right? How do you look yourself as the Grandmaster?
So Grandmaster is the highest title in chess, and it's a, I think there are maybe around 2000 odd Grandmasters in the world, and in general very few countries have more than 100 Grandmasters. There's I think it's just only USA and Russia as far as I can remember. But to be honest, I don't really feel so conscious about it in general when I'm talking chess, especially with other chess players or other Grandmasters. It usually doesn't really make any difference in the way I communicate with people, or how I go about my day-to-day life.
Right.
But it's a very nice feeling to have that title. It's a very nice feeling to have that achievement, and the good thing is it's for a lifetime, so it also doesn't put that kind of accountability in you, because you don't have to maintain any particular thing to stay a Grandmaster.
Okay, yeah. That's a lighter way of looking at it, but then still, as a responsible person, you will have that in it. I can see that. You're from Chennai, right?
Right.
Tell me about one of your earliest memories of chess, if you don't mind.
So my earliest memories of chess, the journey actually started on a family vacation. We were going in a train, and my brother and my cousin were playing chess on the middle berth. It was a 1.5 day journey from Chennai to Mumbai.
Yeah.
And that's when I got introduced to the world of chess.
Oh, okay. How old were you then?
I was around 5 years old. This was 1999.
Okay.
And that was a phase of life where I was curious about just about everything. Okay. And chess was also, it immediately took my intrigue and fascination. I wanted to play, but they thought I was too young for playing chess to understand the rules and stuff. But I kept pestering them, and so when we came back to Chennai, my father thought he will enroll me in an academy, which was also a very useful activity after school. And that's how it began. I enrolled in this academy, and my early memories, I was completely hooked on to the world of chess. I was thinking about it non-stop. after a few years. And there were even instances where I would be just brimming with doubts, brimming with questions about chess, waking people up from their sleep to ask questions during journeys. So this is how it began. And also I had a few initial successes which kept my career going. I won the state under 7 in my first attempt. That was 1 year after I started playing chess. And I have this memory of traveling all around Tamil Nadu within the first 2-3 years, going to all these different towns and cities, playing chess, traveling in bus. And when I won the state championship and qualified to the national, then that became instead of Tamil Nadu to around India, and trains replacing the buses. So that's where the journey began. And then there are just so many memories from that time that it's hard to pick one particular one.
Right. What brings you to Bahrain, by the way? This is your first time, right?
Yeah, this is my first time to Bahrain, and it feels pleasant actually to go to a new country, because I've traveled to more than 30 countries, but in the last few years I've actually just been repeating countries. At least for the last 5 years I don't think I visited a new country. So it feels really nice to go to a new country after a long time and experience things the first time. What's exciting about Bahrain and the chess scene in particular is I'm seeing a lot of interest in my time that I've spent here. But I think that it's still a lot of untapped potential as compared to, let's say, a country like India, where the number of the players who are into chess might be around 100 times more at this moment. But this makes it more interesting because there's just so much untapped potential in a place where there's not there's so many new people who can enjoy chess, and amongst the existing people there's so much you can offer to them, in the sense that they are starting out. It's a relatively new scene, so in that sense it's a bit like how India was as a chess country about a few years ago. India also started that way, and we have seen how it has grown into one of the strongest chess nations in the world. And I think this is something that can be emulated across many different countries, and Bahrain is one of the countries that offers the potential to do that. And from a non-chess perspective, I'm also pretty excited to explore the places in general. So normally I don't have normally my schedule has something every day, but in Bahrain I have consciously tried to have one full day just to explore the country without any work.
You will not be disappointed because the country has enough to offer you. It's more than one day. You would want to come back. But it's interesting to hear about the potential in Bahrain, and especially a country which really has a vision for its sports arena. 2024 has been a brilliant year for Bahrain in terms of all sports aspects. So this would be a good message coming from a Grandmaster going out to the world, to the Bahrain leadership as well, that the importance that they should give to this sporting. One more question related to that would be, like, you said you started as young as 5 or 6 or 7. Compared to those days, where do you place today's that age group, like 5 or 6? Do you see that interest growing?
Absolutely. The amount of numbers, it has grown exponentially. Now, the time when I started playing was a really long time ago. That was 25 years ago. I think I see a change in every 5 years. I see an increase in every 5 years. And especially the last 5 years post-pandemic has seen a level of growth at a completely different level. So the numbers, the competition, everything has increased at staggering levels. And the facilities, those have also increased accordingly. So it's a completely different world, I would say, to that time.
All right. And when you train these little children, what are these common doubts or questions that come which must have amused you? Is there anything like that?
So mostly the common doubts are, how to improve, how to spend time. If you have this amount of time, what are the areas you should be working on and things like that. So in that sense, they are no different to, the other people I work with, the other people I train.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a Grandmaster, do you identify talents? Like in a group of children, will you be able to identify a talent as such? Because everybody is different skill set, right? Has a
Absolutely.
different. Do you identify? Is it possible?
Yes, I do, and there are, I think, a few markers for this exceptional talent and aptitude. One of the markers is the amount of curiosity they show.
Okay.
Amount of interest, organic interest and curiosity that they show. So one common aspect amongst all the top chess players is that they have this unlimited curiosity to learn more and more about chess, to spend time with chess. So this is definitely one of the markers.
Right.
Apart from that, one of the important things is also the rate of being able to learn new information and be implemented. So when you show a concept, different people learn at different rates. And the people who turn out to be prodigies, who turn out to be exceptional achievers at a young age, they have a remarkable ability to learn new things and almost immediately apply the concept in practice. So this is, I think, also one of the markers of talent.
I think that's when you say that they have it in them, kind of thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as we come to the close, we cannot leave this question of technology taking an up role in almost everything in life. And also, unlike good old days, children or youngsters have an option to learn chess online, playing with an opponent, in a virtual. The AI taking over scenes. How do you look at that happening on the chess in the field?
This is a good question, and I think the AI taking over chess actually happened a lot earlier than it happened in a lot of other fields. We have been fiddling with chess and computers since forever. I think in the 1950s and 60s, people were already imagining a computer strong enough to beat a human. Then for many years, we kept maintaining that the computers will never be able to play as well as a human. In the 90s, the computer already started defeating the best human chess player. And then the technology just kept getting stronger and stronger that in 2017, there was this moment when an AI could just learn chess just by playing against itself, and within a few hours it was way stronger than any human conceivable. What a human cannot do in the 100 years or 200 years, AI could do it in less than 4 hours, and later at an even shorter time, just by learning to play against itself. And I remember going back to that moment and thinking how useless I am, how obsolete that an AI could do it in a few minutes, what I couldn't do all my life. But in the 7 years since, and in general, what we have come to understand is AI doesn't replace you, it just changes your roles. And a lot of roles have changed over the years, starting from the time when from as simple as storing information, we used to store it in pen and paper, and then it moved to computers. We could store it in databases that started in the 80s and 90s. And all these things, it has actually saved us a lot of time and a lot of, a lot of manual labor that would take hours became minutes, and it became much shorter, so that we can focus on different tasks instead of writing down and copying stuff. It's already there in the computer. It started from there. Then, the computers started, the algorithms became very powerful, that the computers, we take their help in every position and get the moves that they suggest in that particular position. And all this helps us with our preparation. And since everyone has access to technology and access to computer now, it has become a level playing field, which was totally not the case pre-internet. Which is also the reason why, very few countries could dominate in a pre-internet era. But in the post-internet world, it has thrown it open to anyone. You have a computer, you have a phone with internet. It already gives you access to being inclusive in the sport and access to improve. So it has made things a lot more of a level playing field, closer towards an idealistic equal opportunity for people.
Right.
And it has made it easier for people to learn even without access to having a grandmaster coach or other people within that particular geographical region. Online has bridged this communication gap. These are, I think, some of the major changes that it has brought.
And I think we should look at it positively, right?
Absolutely. I think it's a very, very positive improvement, because having this, equal playing field, I think that's such a nice thing to have. Everyone has dreams, but not everyone has the tools or has the opportunity to achieve those dreams. But this certainly makes it easier for more people to play chess, to start playing chess. And I think this is one advantage we have in general over a lot of other physical sport, which requires a field or an or a lot more infrastructure to just have people to come and play it. But chess makes it a lot more easier. And we can see the effects of this now. So we have more prodigies today than in any other era.
Yes.
And prodigies from more different countries. So it's not just India, which is experiencing an explosion. There's Uzbekistan, which is coming up really well.
Uzbekistan, okay.
Yes. Then there are countries like Mongolia, Turkey.
Okay.
So this is apart from the countries which is already has a well-established chess scene, like Russia, USA, China, India. Apart from this, we also have a lot of new countries where there are a lot of new talents coming up, and this couldn't happen without internet, without computers, without AI, without the technology.
Right. About your current role, do you want to tell us, associated to the Indian team, what are your responsibilities? How are you enjoying it?
So it's a very pleasant experience working with the Indian team, because rarely do we ever see things going so smoothly without running into any trouble.
Okay.
It's almost inconceivable, but that happened in this Olympiad where where I was able to just sit back and watch them just win games after game without really contributing to any stress, because there was so little uncertainty that they would win these games. So that's a very pleasant experience that takes up a really small part of my time though, because we generally have these team tournaments once every 2 years, and usually the team practice and these things happen a few months before the Olympiad itself happens, which happens every 2 years. So apart from that, there is of course everyone has their individual trainers, and I also have my own individual personal students that I work with.
All right.
Until last year, Arjun Erigaisi, who is the current India #1 and the world #4, was one of them. So yes, it's a very pleasant experience working with the Indian team, and apart from that, I also enjoy trying to contribute and help with the careers of similar budding young prodigies who will eventually also be part of the national team later, and hopefully one of the best players in the world.
Right. If not chess, what do you do? What else are your hobbies or interests? I'm sure you're always thinking of the board, but then beyond that.
I think it's like any other person. I like to watch streaming content, Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and I also like reading quite a bit. It has reduced a bit in this era of dominated by screens, but I'm trying to consciously get back to reading a little more. And aside from that, just hanging out with people and all the typical normal stuff people do.
Thank you, Srinath. Thank you so much for taking your time to talking to us. Maybe one last tip or advice as a grandmaster to the aspiring chess players.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And if I had to send out one message, it would be just find something you enjoy, and I think it's really important to enjoy and have fun with what you're doing, especially if it's related to chess. If you're able to do that, all other things will automatically take care of itself, because ultimately when you enjoy, you are paying maximum attention. If you're paying maximum attention, you will get better by repeatedly doing it, and you also repeatedly keep doing it once you start enjoying and having fun with it. So just enjoy and have fun.
Thank you so much. This is my first time ever I'm sitting down with a Grandmaster, I know the game, but I'm not an avid player. Whenever I've watched chess, I've seen the players very serious. And as I said in the beginning, so even when I walked into this room, I watched you and I was sharing with my colleagues, it doesn't seem like one who would speak much, and that puts a burden on the interviewer usually. But you've proved me different. You have proved yourself a very normal human being other than what the Grandmaster title holds on. As young as 30, that is Grandmaster Srinath Narayanan with me. My first ever, the 973 show's first ever, and the guest ever, the Grandmaster. So until we meet with yet another guest, this is Rajiv Unikrishnan signing off.